All right, we'll go ahead and get started now. Caroline, can you hear me okay? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sounds good. All right, so today you guys are going to hear from someone new. Sean is actually out of town today, but you know, we have a great opportunity to listen to the newest addition to our ed tech team, Caroline Smith. She's been really a great addition to our team. She comes with an awesome background in teaching and has some really excellent skills, and we love working with her, and it'll be a great opportunity to hear from her. She's a third-year educational psychology and technology doctoral student here at TCSPP with a Master's of Arts in Teaching and a teaching degree from Central Connecticut State University. During her time as a physics educator, she also pursued a 6-year degree from the NEAG School of Education of University in Connecticut. Well, maybe Caroline, you can tell us a little bit more about yourself, and go ahead and get started on Bloom's taxonomy and how the technology can be used in that. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you. My name is Caroline Smith. I am a physics teacher from the New York City area, but I am literally tomorrow moving to Kentucky. So if you hear any weird background noises, that's why. So I have a master's in regular old education and one in educational psychology and technology, and that's what pushed me to both join this program, my doctorate program, and this job in this department, because I'm really into how technology can make education better. So Bloom's taxonomy is a very well-known hierarchy of questioning and learning strategies. So at the bottom of the triangle, you can see that's where we're asking students to just remember stuff. So basic recall, and that's heavy on teacher involvement. So you are telling them what to remember. You're giving them vocab words. You're giving them facts and dates. And they can give you that same information back, but they're not finding or doing anything else on their own. They're just repeating what you gave them. The next level up is understanding. So here it's not just you give them information and they spit it right back. Here they have to prove that they understand it. So they are classifying these facts, they're discussing them, explaining them in their own words. They're recognizing some, like if you're studying quadratic equations, they understand when to use the quadratic formula. On the third level, we have apply. So now our students are being asked to take this information that we've given them. We've asked them to remember it and understand it. And now we're asking them to apply it in a new scenario. So now in the middle of the triangle, we're seeing more student involvement in what they're doing. So yes, you gave them the information, but now they are applying it in different scenarios. So they're taking it from the rote traditional classroom and they're doing something with it. So they are implementing theory, they are interpreting something, they are sketching a pattern or something like that. Next up we have analyze. So as we're working our way up, you see more and more emphasis on what the student is doing with the information versus the information that you gave them. So now at Analyze, the student is taking that information and using it to draw connections. So they're comparing and contrasting, they're examining, they're experimenting, questioning, testing. So now a lot of the emphasis is on the student. On the second to top tier is evaluate. So now they're justifying, they're appraising, arguing, defending, judging, supporting. Now we're into the area where the student is doing a majority of the work. And then finally at the top level is the students asked to create something. So they're producing some new or original work. So they have taken the information, they have applied it, evaluated it, and now they are creating something new with it through a new design. They're authoring stuff, producing stuff, investigating stuff. So on the next slide here, you see a giant light bulb full of Bloom's taxonomy verbs. So at the bottom, these are lower order thinking skills, and it's very heavy on the information you gave them. So you are very necessary to their process here. They are reproducing what you gave them. They are memorizing what you gave them. They are matching what you gave them. Versus the top of the light bulb, you can see that here the emphasis is on the student. The student is explaining something, interpreting something, assembling, categorizing, appraising. So this is all heavy on what the student is able to do, and those are the higher order thinking skills. So how can we use technology to better incorporate Bloom's taxonomy into our instruction here? So there are a limitless number of online tools. I've just chosen some of my favorites, but at the bottom level, students are remembering and understanding. So you can see I've listed some keywords, and I've also given a column of teacher technology tools and student technology tools. So for the teacher to get all that information to the student, we have a couple of different options. So I'm going to assume that everybody's pretty familiar with Google Slides and PowerPoint, because that's what we're viewing right now. So I'm going to skip to Animoto. Oops. So Animoto is a video creation software where you can give them, and so you can take pictures and clips of video, and you can put background knowledge to it. So it's just a fun way to present the information to students. So this is a video that I made of pictures and facts and text about me for an introduction to a different class. But it's very easy to make. You just put in your pictures, your text, and if you want a background music, you put in the background music, and then that's it. And then you piece it all together. It's very easy to use, and it's a good way to give information and try and keep your students engaged in the process. Credo is a streamlined information delivery. So this would be the main screen of a particular presentation. And now I'm clicking through it similar to how I would click through a PowerPoint. But you can see it's going to move me around to these different pieces of information. And it's trying to be a little more professional and exciting than your traditional PowerPoint. But you can still have objects appearing. And you can also, with Credo, you can stop and move into some background slides. So if you're in a synchronous presentation and students are having lots of questions about a certain topic, you can add before you go into the presentation, you can add background slides where you can flip it over and have some additional information. So anytime that you see students struggling to understand what you're presenting to them, you can flip the slide over and there's your extra information to back up. So that's a really useful part of Credo. We also have Canva presentations and infographics. So this is a cool piece of software to create infographics, presentations, posters that you can incorporate into your online class. So if you're and you can also ask students to use this to make the same type of thing to reiterate information back to you, but it's a very useful tool for presenting information to students in a factual manner. So when you go in to make your infographic, you can pick a layout, and it's really easy to navigate. It's very intuitive. And then lastly, we have Quizlet. So Quizlet, you can make a quiz for your students or have your students make the quizzes of this rote information that you're giving back. So here you can see these are the questions that are asked, and you can add in pictures. But so you're asking them, when did the Boston colonists protest the Tea Act with the Boston Tea Party? December 16th, 1773. So it asks the question, and then the student comes up with their answer, and then you click, or the student clicks, or whoever clicks, and then it flips over and it shows you the answer. Now, on the student side, the student is responsible for taking and memorizing this information. So they need a way to store and annotate. So that's what our student technology tools are doing on this other side. So Evernote is a very popular one. It has a Google Chrome login, and it looks like I'm not logged in anymore. But it has a Google Chrome, what are these? Plugins. So anytime a student comes to a article, PDF, or web page that they want to save, they use the plugin up on top, and they log it into their stored information. And it also has a really helpful app as well. So anything that the student stores on their PC, they can then access on their phone. Adobe and Kindle both have very impressive highlighting and annotating. So this link won't work for you if you're following along because it's pulling up my most recent PDF. But students can use Adobe to highlight text as well as annotate and leave comments where they need to. So I can say, this is confusing, return ASAP. And then I can leave that comment there for me to come back later and return to it. A lot of students now rent ebooks or purchase ebooks. So the Kindle Cloud Reader is another very useful tool, and again, it has a similar app. So students can highlight and take notes again, and then through the library, they can easily access what they've highlighted and how they've taken notes. So it tries to make the online ebook reading a little bit less intimidating. Diigo and Pocket are both similar to Evernote. So Diigo, I can clip pieces of a page or pieces of information and save it as notes here. So you can see up here, this is my Diigo extension in Chrome. So anytime I come across something, I hit that little button, and it brings me to, okay. Now I hit that little button, and it brings me to my options, what I can do on this page. I can take a screenshot and annotate it. I can take the PDF. I can annotate a particular article, or I can just save it for use later. And Pocket is similar. This is my Pocket extension here. So anytime I come across a, web page that I'm looking to save, I can click on this button, and it brings me to my home screen here, and I can do whatever I'm needing to it. So this extension brings me to my options where I can, oops, I didn't mean to click that. Brings me to my options where I can save the screenshot of what I'm looking at. I can save the page itself, whatever. So they're all very useful for helping students save and look at information later. The next two levels were applying and analyzing. So if you remember, the first two levels is very heavy on what the teacher gives to the students. Now we have a little more of a give and take here. So the teacher is giving stuff to students, and then the students are taking it the next step. So they are applying and analyzing here. So what the teacher can use to help organize them, the first option is Basecamp. So Basecamp helps teachers, managers, whatever, manage different groups that are happening, different projects that are happening. So instead of managing what information goes to the students and how they are interpreting it, now you're managing how their projects or group work is being completed while they are analyzing. So here you can create a Basecamp for your class. You can create different teams or groups. You can create different projects that different teams are working on. So it's a good way to figure out who's doing what. And then we also have Canvas discussions. So Canvas discussions are a good way to get students interacting with each other. So a student has some information that they are applying and analyzing, and other students are then returning to their peers' posts and discussing it further. I don't know why we're having such a hard time here. So if we go into Canvas and we go to look at an example of that, so we can find a discussion that I created, and I said compare and contrast these two famous paintings. So I, as the teacher, am giving them two paintings to look at: the Mona Lisa and the Scream. So I've given these students these two images to look at, and now the students are taking it the next step to compare and contrast them. So I gave them also some hints about what to look at, like media, audience, style, purpose. And then the students are responsible for taking this information, this baseline that I gave them, and furthering it. So on the student side, I had creating wikis. So in Canvas, you have the option to create a page and have that as a class contributed wiki. So in order to do that, we can go back over here. All we have to do is create a page, and I can call this my example wiki. And down here, I'm going to change my options to teachers and students. So those are everybody in the class can contribute to this. And so everybody is taking some outside information, analyzing it, applying it, and then putting it here for the rest of us to look at. So if I change this to teachers and students, then we can all contribute to this wiki page. And then I hit save and publish. And now it's ready for my students to come and edit and contribute to. So very useful working within our class to further everybody's contribution. Another possibility is having the students keep a blog. So I chose Weebly as my example, but there are lots of different options. Weebly is a pretty common one. So you can use it to make regular websites as well, but in order to have students do this, they just have to make an account, and then they can use their site to post their analyzing and applying blog posts. And then they give you the link, and it's easy for you to go back and look at all of their blog posts in a row to see what they have been up to. And then lastly, I have Google Sites and Google Docs here for everybody to use. So in a similar way to using the wiki, and me and my students are both contributing, I can use Google Sites and Google Docs in the same manner. I can use Google Sites as a wiki, or I can use it as a place where students then come and contribute their analyzing and applying data for just me to read, so through a comment or through a submission on a Google site. Same thing with a Google Doc. Everybody is collaborating on that same Google Doc, either as a whole class or in small groups. And I can be a part of that by assigning it through Google Docs, or my students can be responsible through Google Docs, and then I can be monitoring it as the teacher. Level 5 of the triangle was evaluate. So now we remember that this is where the emphasis is much more on the students. So you can see that there are much more student technology tools here versus teacher technology tools, because the student is responsible for doing a lot more with this topic. So on the teacher side, I had Canvas discussion again, but in a different way. So oops. If we go back to Canvas, let me close these so that my computer doesn't hate me. If we go back here and we go back to my example discussions, you'll see that my second discussion option was to consider famous canines and which personifies America's dog. Now here there's no right or wrong answer. Students have to find sources, evaluate them, and then defend their position. So I gave them a bunch of different options for how they could do that. They could do a podcast, a video blog, or a regular blog entry. So lots of different media for the students to feel comfortable with. So now over here on the student side, here is all of this different media. Students can create blogs again. They can also create podcasts to defend their position or support or critique. So Audacity is a free, really helpful, so this is the download link, but let me open it up. It is a easy to use software to create some pretty impressive podcasts. So let's see Audacity. So here, if I'm looking to record myself, I hit the record button. It records my voice. I keep talking. I do my podcast. I can then use all of these tools to go back and edit. I can increase my volume. I can decrease my volume. And then I can export it as an MP3. So Audacity is a really good tool for making some impressive podcasts. And it's free, which everybody likes. Our library also has some impressive research tools, as well as Google Scholar, to help students defend their position or critique someone else's. Another option is to give students a potentially flawed piece of information and ask them to, again, support or defend it. So tools there are Snopes and Fact Check. These are both websites where students can read about what actually did occur or did not occur. So Snopes is fairly well known as a fact checker, as is Fact Check. Podbean is another podcast site and software. So it is also pretty easy to use. So here you can upload your podcasts, have them hosted and have them easily accessible and easy to share with others. And then on the last level, we have students creating. They're designing, developing, investigating, publishing their own work. So here I don't have any teacher technology tools because all the emphasis is on what the student is doing. So in order to show what they've created, students can use any and all tools that I've previously listed. They're all great options for students to express what they've done in a way that's familiar and easy to them. But I do have some additional video tools because for especially distance learning courses, it's sometimes hard to show what you can do without a video component. So the first option is Camtasia, which different departments, I guess, have subscriptions to. Is that right, Thad?
Yeah, it's kind of limited, but you know, most people have access through their ID or one way or another. But yeah, Camtasia, and there are some definitely some good viable options, you know, and that we'll have that are built into Canvas as well. And I'm sure you'll discuss some of those. It looks like.
So Camtasia is kind of the big one, and there is a free trial, but it is an exceptionally powerful software for screen recording, incorporating other videos, incorporating text, sound, whatever you can possibly think that you want to put into it, Camtasia can do it for you. And again, it does have a free trial. Screencast-O-Matic is the opposite. It is a very simplistic screen recording. It runs in your browser. It's easy to use. You know, you click the button, start recording, and then bam, you're recording the screen. It does not have so many editing features, but you can record up to 15 minutes for free, and it's easy, and sometimes you just need free and easy. Panopto is it's aimed towards education. So here I've linked us to the example videos. Now Panopto is so Thad, what is the we're transitioning to Panopto? What's happening with Panopto?
Yeah, currently we're doing sort of some testing within Canvas for Panopto, and you know, there's going to be an integration into Canvas with Panopto, and it's kind of in the works currently, and hopefully we'll most of us pretty much. I think the goal is to have everyone will have access to Panopto. You know, that's where we're headed. We're trying to get there, but as it is right now, it's just a test that we're running.
So Panopto is similar to Animoto in that you can record yourself and give it to them as lectures, but also it's a powerful tool, and now I guess it's going to be in Canvas that students can use to create their own presentation videos to show what they've learned and what they've done. So ease of use is high on that one. In the opposite realm, we have Jashaka, which is probably one of it has probably the most capabilities that I've seen, but it is also the most complex. So students can create their own animations in Jashaka. I do actually have it on here. Students can create their own animations. They can, you name it, they can do it in this free open source software, but it is exceedingly complex. So this might be better for your really techie students. I consider myself pretty techie, and I couldn't figure it out. So, well, I mean, I guess I didn't give myself that much time, but it's very complicated, but very, very powerful. So we can see some examples of what people can do over here. This guy.
Hi, welcome to another shock.
This guy did a tutorial on how he created a lightsaber. So he, you know, was playing around with a video of himself, and he made himself a lightsaber in Jashaka. So then we've got WeVideo. I don't remember what my login is. So WeVideo is another useful tool to put together videos, and it's very, very easy to use. So you put all of your student puts all their pieces of media in, and then it kind of combines it and exports it for them. So, and as you can see, over here in my free version, I only have 1 gig of storage, which is the downside. But as long as if your student's recording on like their phone camera or something, they'll be okay. And then Magista is my last one here. Magista is probably the easiest one to use. You hit the select button, you pick your pictures and videos, and you put them together. So it does not have a lot of ways to spice it up, not a lot of different things you could do with it, but it's easy to put your stuff together, and your student can express what they've done in a professional looking manner. It does come out with nice videos. It's just it's hard to have it do anything especially fancy. So those are the tools that I have. Is there any questions that I could answer?
Yeah, we'll open this up to questions. Let's we'll go ahead and I think we'll wrap up the recording and the webinar, and then hang on the line for a little bit to answer any questions. But this has been excellent. It's really cool to see how all these different tools support the different taxonomies and different levels, different orders of thinking, higher order, and it's helpful to see that that comparison. We've had a lot of questions regarding this presentation, and this, as many of you have seen, this presentation can be an excellent resource for designing and planning your own courses. So we will update this webinar invite and attach this presentation so that everybody can have access to it. So yeah, yes. If there, we'll go ahead and stop the recording now and stay on the line, and I'll unmute and leave the discussion open if there are any other questions.